not like ants. I do not like ants. I do not like ants. It's ooh that game we used to play back in the day, ants in the pants. Ooh, I cannot stand ants. They fight me because I'm sitting down a lot outside just bud, and then I be scratching on bud, people talking stuff, but I get bit a lot. Okay, I get bit. The one thing that I have found is that the heat attracts most things. The heat makes you give off pheromones, and if you smell sweet to certain things, you just do, right? I try to use tea tree, eucalyptus, and cannabis to combat it. I usually make a little concoction in the summertime. It's just, a lot I can do with the dimes that I've been reduced to at this moment in history. So, any uh, way, today is the memory of my mother's passing, if I'm not mistaken. Right around this time, she passed away 30 years ago. It's also right around this time, almost 20 years ago, that I had gastric bypass surgery. Do I see the overlapping similarities? I do indeed. I always have. I remember when I was 18 asking my stepfather if, looking at me, oh, because I look so much like my mother. And he was honest. He said yes. I asked him a couple other questions, and he said yes. It's part of the reason why I was very careful about how I live my life. Ooh, itchy ears. Excuse me. So anyway, around 11 years old, my stepfather would go from being a lab technician to a chem tech, and he would end up being stationed at Fort Bragg. And I remember it mostly because I remember that's where I got to do cool stuff like zip line and preparedness for going to Colorado, where I would get to climb mountains or hills. It wasn't until we got to Germany that I climbed a mountain. Actually, I was able to make mountains out of molehills in a positive way along the way. Sometimes that it wasn't meant to be for me for whatever reason. I just always believed in the possibility. That's why today's music playlist is titled "The Dichotomy." I remember being in that apartment, making it. I was dragging myself, sitting in the shower for what must have been an hour, just crying. And that song, "Pass Me Over" by Anthony Hamilton, I listened to it. This person just wanted to be asleep until the Savior came. See, so I didn't say it right. People woke up in pain today because when the Savior came, they were asleep, and the sheep stay asleep. I have no idea what it is that I am witnessing, except what I believe to be two people racing. You know what? Let's see if I can't turn this around, just for some fun. Let's see if they come back. Oh, they're going another way. They're these two dudes on what look like electric scooters for your grandparents. Maybe they're testing them out or something. They're just riding along like, the get along gang. There was a thing back in the day. It was that was their name, right? Weren't they the get along gang? The ones who had alfalfa in them. It's not. There was a time when we even had those shows and we don't anymore. There are television shows where children go outside and play and get into stuff. I think that's why most people don't anticipate children going outside and getting into stuff. not without permission and supervision and whatnot. There was a government standard. There is a government standard. Um, from 0 to 6, you pretty much got to be with your child. I think it's like 6 to 10. They have to be within eyesight. 10 to 16, they can be at like a center or something along those lines. At 16, they can be to spend the night alone. They can't babysit. No, no, that they can babysit them. So around 16, they can take care of their younger siblings down to that age. At 6, parents can't leave the under 6 with the 16-year-old. There's certain things, if you got one, it's blah 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 blah, right? But there's a basic metric the government follows because the government also follows that metric for putting people in housing. They had to put a cap on it because people were having lots of babies and having lots of bedrooms. So the government said, all right, up until a certain age, your children of the same sex can live in the same room. If you have children of opposite sexes up until the same age, they can live in the same room. And then they were like, listen, you got way too many doggone children, so we're going to cap it at 3. My 3, all being dudes, all had the ability to have their own room. So a lot of times we had an extra room because the 2 younger ones wanted to be in the same room. It wasn't until the divorce that they decided that they went their separate ways. That's when a lot of things changed. So that's what happens with divorce. That's why I didn't want to be a statistic. And at the same time, I refused to have another military wife experience the things that I experienced. I believe that we can educate the public to a better way of doing business. And it was a lot of things that I witnessed from childhood to today. Um, Itty bitty metrics that I was able to put in place in my life. At 13 is when I realized I could save my life. I don't know 5% ish. I didn't even know the shit existed then. You understand? I was 13 years old. I was living in Germany. Yes, I had heard Public Enemy and whatnot, but we're talking about the fundamental understanding of self mastery. That was some shit that came to me on my own at 13. I was like, you know what? I'm sick of the dumb shit. I'm gonna get better at life before life gets me. See? I started paying attention in class. To go from Memphis, Tennessee to International School in Dusseldorf, which is a college preparatory school in Europe, where they have 13 grades just in case. I always knew that I was smarter than my parents. On that Matilda shit. You get it? That's why I fight so hard for the innocent. There were those who protected me. That's why they use that Britney Spears, what's the call it case? Or my case. I also was a Disney baby. An industry baby, really. I just, I just dropped out the radar for 30 years. Sort of. I was still around making new. That's why I wrote the documentary for the book. There's a young man that I really want to thank, though, and by the way that I would really like for him to help me get this documentary to the screen. C50? We don't need you, partner. We don't need no celebrity backing and all that. Y'all can go and pack their shit up and leave, partner. TMZ can stay if they want to, just so they can find out what it is that I actually did. But respectfully, every bit of it was my movement. Not no terroristic shit. But people getting up every day and continuing to do different daily so that we have a different outcome inside of the economy. I know the market may feel like it's crashing. It'll stabilize. Y'all will be alright. But you're not gonna make money off slavery anymore, especially not Negroes. Okay? Now, you took care of them. Let's talk about me. See? I'm independent. I came alone. I worked alone. I did all this on my own. Other people start biting my rhymes, and that's a crime. Intellectual property. They tried to hide me. They had to stuff me in Pandora's box. They did all kinds of shit. It makes no difference. Because I got the strength of iron mind. It took a long time, right? We're talking about from 11 years old, the first time that I went to today, by way of gastric bypass surgery, right? Because when we were stationed in Fort Bragg in 2000, hmm, I don't remember when that was. Anyway, well, there was an Iron Mike competition, a family and fun run event. And I didn't make, I couldn't. I was types of, I said, never again, Father, never again. Never again. And here I am, it took me some time. The other song, I Refuse by Aaliyah. That shit changed my life. Like, Jay-Z said, I let the song come for years. I just let the music do what it was going to do because I was too busy getting my life right so that I could live a different life. You dig what I'm saying? So that I can live out the promises that God made to me. That's the work. That's the work of faith. You have to be healthy enough for God to give you an extra half a century or whatever it may be. You stay asleep, you're dead. Because sleep's not rest. Things sleep out when you sleep. When you rest, it's different. You're in a more relaxed position. There really is no rest without peace. P EPA filtration. Cannabis, even in its smoke form, heals the atmosphere. You can make it out of you, in a different way. I made it through the crystalline good. I did some other shit. And it is what it is. It's not that it's all due to cannabis. What it is, though, is that if you are someone who consumes cannabis on a regular basis, you can meet me in the So we've never met face to face, but you've met me in the spirit. Those of you who do amphetamines or other things, we've met also, just on the dark side of things. Just how I knew how to assist you in making it through what's left of the matrix. It's just rather than allow everything to crash, I figured out a way to put it all back together. Okay, so yeah, kind of like the person who stole the thing is the person who took the Legos and replaced it with pasta. It's just, I'm not an imposter. They are. A lot of what you're seeing around the world is mastery of impostery or living vicariously through me and virtual, formerly written reality TV. Like the first season of The Real World was the only season of The Real World. Um, I would love to be able to say that the first seasons of The Real Housewives was also, the model was made. Prime example, going back to my childhood. New Edition was the actual a boy band, and that's because Michael Jackson or the Jacksons, they were a family. They were different. See, but apologies, y'all. You know what? Damn it! I told you I don't like ants. I'm gonna give me a T-shirt to say I kill ants for a living. Put a magnifying glass on your asses. Isn't that ironic? Okay, it's sardonic, but it's the truth, right? Okay, listen. Everybody got that auntie that get on your nerves. Look at that. So much. It's too much. Look at that. Look at that dark face glowing. Look at it. Holy fucking shit. Do you see that? I'm gonna say it. Everybody got that one auntie that she get on your nerves so bad that you want to take a magnifying glass and just put it on her life, right? God's equivalent of that is taking a magnifying glass and putting it on an ant and you letting that ant burn. So then somebody teaches you that that's not okay, and you don't do that to the ants, and your whole auntie to do that to human beings anymore. But we not look at that, bro. We can't have everything. So the only way that we can deal with it is to have the Most High God either say, in the midst of your iniquities, go ahead and burn up some ants, or take it all away from us. The hate, the jealousy, the envy, the greed, everything that makes someone an irresponsible human being, negligent, to the point of criminality, to the point where you come against their own kin. That's just the unfortunateness of where we are today. But that's the reality of what you all believe in biblically. And I say y'all because I left the Bible behind. Not in the sense that I never believed in it, but I told you basic instructions before leaving Earth. Once you don't learn about the Bible that you need anymore. You need to remember the lessons that got you there and stay on that path. Whatever that is, it's not a religion, it's not a cult, it's not a culture. It's an understanding, it's not even a mindset. It's power and freedom. That's today's mathematics. 991 and just cause, right? 19 and 1, 1. That's what's on the clock. Do the day's math. Don't look back. Turn the six in your life, turn the devil in your life to a rebirth of Christ, if that's what you need to do, and then handle your business. Don't look back. Mm. You can put a cover over a dish to allow it to finish cooking. So you're making rice and all your ingredients in it. You can let the rice steam and finish cooking. You can put a lid on it and let it carry overcook. Or you can overcook it and then just pop it down on the plate. It's pretty much still rice though, right? Whether you wash it or not, it's rice. Whether you use arborio or you make pilaf, rice and veggies, it's still rice. You didn't even know that there was black rice until you found out about black rice. And you was like, well, I gotta have some black rice. Hmm. I can always see the play. The we're gonna saturate the market with this. So you'll mind your business. I was an entrepreneur at 11. That's what it is to be a successful babysitter. You have more than one client, especially if they're not your parents. Yeah, it's that Mystic Pizza kind of energy. But something I hadn't actually felt before this month. You should watch it if you've never seen it. Watch Mystic Pizza, School Days, and probably The Breakfast Club. And you can do those three in a day, especially if you're not in school for whatever reason, or your job is to mind my business. That'd be an excellent way to understand me, so to speak. I'm just who I am. I didn't change for anybody else. I made decisions in my younger years that were conscious decisions. I was fully aware that they would come with consequences and repercussions. Anything that I said to my ex-husband downrange in our 20s was to keep my marriage together. That's your feelings. Anything that might have been otherwise captured, I don't care. We stay married until such time as it was safe for me to leave. For the sake of the children, for the sake of our safety, though, so that we can all be safe. Never have to go back. Never have to demand respect from someone who chose to neglect us all. You chose another family, and that one failed. How many does it have to be before it's him? And that one, after that colony.